You're listening to a mini episode of the Practical Permaculture Podcast.
Hey guys, welcome to this week's mini episode on Produce No Waste. So, we are unpacking the permaculture principles in each mini episode this season, and today is Produce No Waste. So, it's going to be a pretty quick one because it's quite straightforward. Obviously, there's a number of ways and things you can implement to do this principle. But in the words of Charlie McGee,
because there's no such thing as waste, only stuff in the wrong place.
So, to put it simply, waste is an output. And our ecosystem is actually a really great example of everything that is an output being an input for something else. So the only thing that makes waste wasteful is the excess of it and our inability to use the excess. In our home, how do you think you would fare if there was no curbside garbage pickup? Happen Films actually have a documentary, like a short film documentary, on this couple that actually produced no waste. They literally have had no bin service for quite a number of years. I think it's nearly 10 now. But is this achievable for everybody? And depending on our life commitments and where we are in this journey, it can be quite overwhelming. That's definitely something in our household that I think we would really struggle to do. Not just because we have young children, but just the current lifestyle we're living and the other things that we're prioritizing. Not to say that this isn't important, but we can't do it all. What we can do is think about how we might be able to divert some waste away from our curbside collection. So perhaps instead of filling our yellow recycling bin, how can we use some of the cardboard more for composting or for our fireplace or for our garden beds? How could we maybe reuse cans? How could we reuse plastic? Or potentially our compost, how can we divert more food waste in different ways? How can we deal with our dog's solid waste? Those kinds of things. Easeful, small changes in our week and in our days. And really think about how we can change our buying habits to eliminate these products even entering our household. David Holmgren has a quote when I was researching about this saying that recycling is the most overemphasized of all strategies for preventing waste. With recycling, an input of energy is needed to effectively degrade a material back to its basic constitutions. So, for example, a glass bottle requires energy to melt and remold that glass into a new bottle. Reusing the existing bottle or perhaps not buying the bottle in the first place are far superior options. So I think that was really interesting. And our small and slow solutions that we personally make definitely add up, because we know that one person alone cannot solve this waste problem that we have, but we can contribute and we can take responsibility for our own waste and our own buying habits. We all need to learn to live just a little bit more lightly on our planet. And for me, I think education plays a huge role in this. Our children, how can we break the cycle of our children becoming mass consumers and becoming wasteful? How can we empower them to make better choices? And really, our kids call us on our bullshit. Our kids will say, that's not recyclable. Why are we buying this? What are we doing that for? They call you on your habits. So they're actually a really good place to start if you have them in your life. Another thing that we've really embraced is mending. So we've been learning how to stitch and mend and sew old clothes up, especially clothes around the house. I've got a pair of pants that I've had to sew up, the seam multiple times. These trackies I'm wearing right now, they split right down the side. The stitching just wasn't done properly, and I had to hand sew because I don't have my machine all the way up the leg. But yeah, a lot of our garden clothes have stains on them, and we've multiple times had to stitch up holes that happen around my butt area from bending over. But there's nothing wrong with that, like who's going to see me anyway? And really thinking about how we can embrace op shops and things like that to curb our spending habits and our consumerism. And then also Addie loves playing with my old dresses that don't fit me anymore or might have rips and tears that I can't mend, that are too obvious. We use them for rags, for garden ties. We cut them into strips for the kids to do craft and play with and be creative. So yeah, just have a think about how, firstly, you can just stop it from coming into your home, and if you can make small, easeful changes. But then once it's in your home, how you deal with it, and imagine and cosplay a world where we didn't have curbside collection and how that would be. So yeah, that's this episode on Produce No Waste. I think definitely look to nature for inspiration, because nature is a great example of how to recycle and reuse and repurpose things. And if there's any ideas that you have that you would like to share, we would love you to do that in our YouTube comments or in our group on Facebook that you can join and continue these conversations. Thanks for listening.
Misusing water's a disgrace. Moved to the city, rented a house on my way to buy.